What happened when mankind fails? When there are no longer guns and ammunition? What would be your choice of weapon that's effective enough to survive off of? A compound bow is very effective and stealthy. It can provide you with protection and hunting abilities. A compound bow only involves these basic steps to utilize: putting on the release, knocking the arrow, holding the bow, drawing the bow, aiming the bow, and firing the bow. Once a person fires a compound bow, it can turn into a lifelong tradition. First, you have to put on the release. Take the release and Velcro strap your dominant hand as such. The mouth of release should be positioned from the inside of your hand. Now you're ready to knock the arrow. The second step is to knock the arrow. Take your arrow and you place it in the arrow holder, also known as the quiver, as such. The back of the arrow is inserted from the slot into the compound bow string. Now, make sure your feathers, the odd color out or the brightest color, is always going to be facing upwards. The next step requires holding the bow. Your stance should put your feet parallel and shoulder width apart. Hold the bow with your non-dominant hand and handle it slightly. Keep your arm in a straight position so that when you shoot, there is no twisting method after you fire the weapon. Your fourth step requires a little strength. Drawing the bow is next. Your fourth step is drawing the bow. To draw the bow, you take your release. Your release has a mouth clamp. You take that mouth clamp and you put it on your compound bow string. There's a loop. Attach it as so. Drawing the bow is very easy, just requires a little muscle. You're going to pull back on your compound bow using your back muscles slightly with a nice smooth motion. As you pull back, keep that stance. You're going to take your right hand, your dominant hand, and you're going to place it under your ear, and you're going to tuck it behind your jaw, touching on your skin. Your next step to this compound bow is aiming. You have two sights to a bow. You have your peep sight, and you have your actual pin sight, your aim sight. When aiming in compound bow, you're going to look through both sights at the same time. You align yourself with your nose touching. You close your non-dominant eye. You align yourself through the first peephole. You should see straight through that peephole out through the aim sight. Then you take your aim sight and you put the pin on your target. After you put your pin on your target, becomes the next best step, and that's firing the bow. The most exciting step also. Firing the bow is the easiest step. Once you've followed all steps above, you're going to fire the bow. The release has a trigger, just like a gun. It has a trigger here. Barely touch it and it goes off. So with a nice touch, after my pin is on the sight, after my pin is actually on the target, I would touch that release and it will fire that bow. As such. In conclusion, firing a bow requires 6 basic steps: putting on the release, knocking the arrow, holding the bow, drawing the bow, aiming the bow, and firing the bow. Welcome to archery. You just started a lifelong tradition.